Hello and welcome to Fact Frame, the podcast where we break down the world of misinformation, fake news, and how we can all be more mindful consumers of information. I'm Tatiana, and in this episode, we'll be diving into the alarming rise of fake news, how to spot it, how social media spreads it, and the real world impact it has on politics and public opinion. So let's get into it. First off, let's tackle the $1,000,000 question. How do you identify fake news? It's easy to get swept up in the flood of information we see online every day. But being able to distinguish fact from fiction is more important than ever. So, how do we spot the fake news? One of the first things to look out for the source. Is this article coming from well-known, credible outlets, or is it from a site you have never heard of? We're talking about sources that often focus on sensational headlines, clickbait, or even outright fabricated stories. But don't just stop at the name of the website. Ask yourself, what's their reputation for accuracy? Do they have a story of being trustworthy reporters? Or have they ever been caught publishing misinformation before? Next, let's talk about these headlines. Don't just fall for drama. Fake news loves to grab attention with exaggerated, shocking headlines like, "You won't believe what happened. This will change everything." If something seems too extreme to be true, it's probably fake. And here is a big one. Always check the facts. Look for the sources that were cited within the article. Are they reputable? Is the article just relying on anonymous claims or vague sources? If you are reading something important, try to verify it on the multiple trusted platforms. And if the story doesn't match across reliable news outlets, that's a strong indicator there is something wrong. Lastly, pay attention to dates. Fake news often gets recycled, so a post that seems like breaking news could actually be a few years old taken out of the context. Always check when the story was published, and if it's a developing story, look for updates to ensure you're reading the latest information. Now let's move on and talk about the role of social media in spreading information. Now let's talk about social media, the engine behind so much of today's information. We have all seen it, news popping up on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, making headlines and gaining traction in a matter of minutes. But how does this impact the spread of fake news? The truth is, social media platforms are designed to amplify content that grabs attention. And guess what? Fake news is a great and grabbing attention tool. It's a sensational, emotional, and often shocking. This type of content gets more engagement, more shares, more likes, which means the algorithm boosts its high at your feet. Now, this isn't a new concept. We have all experienced the echo chambers of social media, where we see the same types of posts repeatedly, reinforcing our beliefs and opinions. But when it comes to fake news, these echo chambers can create a warped sense of reality. A false story can be shared by hundreds or even thousands of people, and if you're only one seeing it in your network, you might start to believe it's true, even if it's not. Think about it. Social media allows anyone with an internet connection to share information, whether it's accurate or not. And this information spreads like wildfire, making it harder for truth to catch up. But what makes it even more dangerous is the sheer speed at which misinformation travels. A viral post can reach millions of people before fact-checkers can even issue a creation. We have also got bots and fake accounts to deal with. These automated accounts are often used to spread false information, further distorting what's real and what is not. So, as users, it's up to us to be vigilant and to verify before we share. Now, let's zoom out and look at the big picture. How does fake news affect public opinion and politics? This is where things get serious. The spread of misinformation doesn't just affect individual beliefs. It can influence entire political landscapes. Take, for instance, elections. We have seen in recent years how fake news has been used to sway voters, whether it's information or misinformation about candidates, misleading headlines about voting procedures, or even completely fabricated stories designed to discredit a movement or political figure. In 2016, the US presidential election was famously influenced by fake news circulation on social media platforms. Stories about candidates were often distorted or outright false, and it was hard for voters to tell what was real. And the effects of fake news don't stop at the ballot box. These lies can erode trust in democratic institutions. If people start doubting the integrity of elections, government actions, or public health measures, it creates instability. And in some cases, fake news can lead to actual violence and unrest. Think about how false rumors have sparked protests, riots, or even hate crimes. Misinformation can create divisions in society, pitting people against each other based on lies. It's not just about getting facts wrong, it's about shaping people's worldviews and, in some cases, manipulating them to take action that harms others. And there is the kicker. Once people have fallen for fake news, it's incredibly hard to change their minds. Cognitive biases like confirmation bias make it hard for people to accept facts that concredited what I really believe. So even when fake news is debunked, it can leave a lasting impact on how people perceive the world. This is why it's crucial for us on the social manner to become more media literate. We need to question everything, not just passively accept whether it comes across the field. The more we understand the tactics behind the fake news, the better equipped we'll be to push back and demand accountability. That wraps up today's episode of Fact Frame. Fake news and disinformation are a huge challenge in today's world, but together we can take steps to protect ourselves, our communities, and the truth. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe, rate us, and share it with your friends. And remember, if you see something, question it, verify it, and make sure it's real before sharing. Stay informed, stay sharp, and I will see you in my next episode on Fact Frame.
Icons. Music.